In ancient Israel, there lived a young boy named David. He was the youngest of 8 brothers, and his family resided in the small town of Bethlehem. David wasn't just any ordinary boy. He had a special responsibility entrusted to him by his father. He was the shepherd of the family's flock. Day and night, David roamed the fields, keeping a watchful eye on the sheep, ensuring their safety and well-being. Being a shepherd was not an easy job. The open fields were fraught with danger, and the threat of predators was ever present. Lions and bears often lurked in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to snatch an unsuspecting sheep. But David was undeterred. Though he was young and small, he possessed a remarkable courage. Armed with nothing more than a staff and a simple sling, David defended his flock with unwavering bravery, fending off the wild beasts that threatened his sheep. His skill with the sling was unmatched. He had honed it through countless hours of practice, making him a formidable protector of his flock. When he wasn't tending to his sheep, David found solace in music. He had a deep love for playing the harp, and his music was so enchanting that even the birds would stop to listen. The melodies he created were a reflection of his heart, filled with a profound sense of peace and joy, despite the challenges he faced as a shepherd. One day, a wise and revered man named Samuel visited David's household. Samuel was a prophet, a man chosen by God to carry out his will. God had spoken to Samuel, revealing that David was destined for a great and noble purpose. He was to be the future king of Israel. Obeying God's command, Samuel anointed David, marking him as the chosen one. This anointing was a sacred act, signifying that David had been set apart for a divine role, even though at that time David was still a young shepherd boy. While David's life was unfolding in Bethlehem, a grave situation was developing not far away. The Israelites, David's people, were locked in a tense standoff with their enemies, the Philistines. The two armies were camped on opposite sides of a valley, preparing for battle. The Philistines had a secret weapon, a giant warrior named Goliath. Goliath was a towering figure, far taller and stronger than any man the Israelites had ever seen. Each day, Goliath would step forward from the ranks of the Philistine army and issue a challenge to the Israelites. He taunted them, daring any one of their warriors to face him in single combat. But the sight of Goliath struck fear into the hearts of the Israelites, and none dared to accept his challenge. One day, David was sent by his father to bring food to his brothers, who were serving in the Israelite army. When he arrived at the battlefield, he heard Goliath's taunts and saw the fear that gripped the Israelite soldiers. David was astonished that no one was willing to confront the giant. He couldn't understand why they were so afraid, for he knew that with God's help, even the greatest obstacles could be overcome. Determined to act, David declared, "I will fight Goliath. The same God who protected me from the lions and bears while I was guarding my sheep will protect me now." His words were met with disbelief, and even the king himself doubted that this young shepherd could stand against such a formidable foe. Nonetheless, the king offered David his own armor, hoping to give him some protection in the battle. But when David tried on the armor, it was too heavy and cumbersome. He could barely move. Realizing that he would be better off without it, David decided to face Goliath with the tools he knew best, his sling and a few smooth stones from the riverbed. As Goliath advanced, towering over him and mocking his small stature, David remained undaunted. He placed a stone in his sling, and with a practiced motion, he swung it around and released it with all his might. The stone flew through the air and struck Goliath squarely in the forehead. The impact was so forceful that the giant warrior fell to the ground, defeated. David's triumph over Goliath was more than just a victory in battle. It was a powerful testament to the strength of faith and courage. Despite his youth and small size, David had achieved what seasoned warriors could not, proving that with God on his side, no challenge was too great. This remarkable victory marked the beginning of David's journey to greatness. The young shepherd, who had once tended his father's sheep, would go on to become one of the greatest kings in Israel's history, leading his people with the same bravery and faith that had guided him on the battlefield that fateful day.